Marketer of the Day, episode 540, Customer Relationship Management Tools, Artificial Intelligence, Work Purpose Alignment, and Workflow Automation, with Scott Gellatly.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Marketer of the Day podcast. We're talking with Scott Gellatly, and his website is scalemyempire.com, and I think we're going to talk about all kinds of various subjects. It's going to be a wild ride. So, Scott, glad to be talking to you.
Mate, good to meet you, Robert. Really looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, good to meet you, and good to meet me. And so what's on your mind these days? What are you up to?
Geez, what's on my mind? These days it's all about like what's happening with the social and the tech trends that are happening over the next few years and the convergence of it. That's sort of where I spend most of my brain power at the moment, because there's some very cool stuff happening out there at the moment if you take a look around.
Like what? Got any examples?
Well, I think we're going to see a consumerization of AI and some advanced automation coming up, which is going to take it to the next level. It's already not science fiction, right? But it's going to be taken out of the big business and available to everyone soon. Things like automated cars and a lot of sort of advanced robotics are also going to come from like corporate, you only hear it in the news land, to everyday life. And there's going to be this huge social movement that comes with that, because it's going to just rip the structure out from underneath us, right? In a positive way, believe it or not, but in a challenging way as well.
Right. I mean, it's things become easier, but also more crowded, and it change a lot faster, and it's kind of exciting and scary at the same time. So, I mean, how does that translate to us everyday people, those of us who like have our own businesses, have our own websites? I mean, how does that translate into making money for us online business people?
Well, it's to get philosophical with you, Robert. It's about aligning work to purpose, because the ultimate goal of all those cool automation technologies, right? Your AI and your robotics and your self-driving cars and all that sort of stuff. It's about like abstracting all the mundane stuff that we do as a society and have to do jobs for and have to make money doing. Abstracting that and having it all done by robots, freeing us up to be creators, strategists, relators, explorers. It's cool, but the transition. I mean, you know what? I went and filled up my car at the pump the other day and walked into the shop, and the person behind the desk, kind of a glazed look on their eyes, a little bit dead on the inside. Hi, how you doing? Can I take your card? Swipe it. Thank you very much. Would you like some chips? Have a nice day. They don't want to be there. They don't want to be there. That lady behind the counter, her highest and best purpose might actually be to raise kids or to make cakes, or it could be something else, right? It could be anything. She could be deep down a data scientist. We'd never know. But the nature of our society demands that she has to work. And there are these jobs like that don't require any real skill or effort to do. And technology is going to automate a lot of that stuff. Driving taxis, point of sale. McDonald's already do it. McDonald's are already trying to kick the kids out. Have you seen those little boards they have now where you can like pick your burger and build your own burger on a little LCD display, and then the burger gets shunted out? Have you seen that?
Not in person. I've seen videos of that, but I was in Japan maybe 7-8 years ago, and there was a system like that already in place. And I thought, man, just wait until the United States catches up.
Oh, it's just coming out in Australia now. And they look beautiful and they're great. And it's like, it's not hard to order a McDonald's burger, right? Like you kind of know what you want. So you don't technically need that human involvement. So what's that going to do for us? It's going to mean that the definition of work fundamentally has to change. It means that the sort of jobs that we're used to saying, we're going to get out of school will change. It means that we need to look at how we're going to transition people and upskill them to live a higher and best purpose, and how we're going to compensate people. Do we find value as a society in someone who wants to be a parent? We need to compensate them for that if they're going to be a stay-at-home parent. This is a huge social change as well as a technology change. And for business owners, we are going to have the absolute brunt of the impact, because we're all people-focused, aren't we? Small businesses big corporations can kind of do and automate a whole lot of stuff, but small businesses are people focused. And if we're putting in a lot of technologies and, some of us will harness it and become successful, others will resist it and they won't. Others will say, no, I can't lose my staff. Well, you've actually got to uplift them because humans will still always want to buy from humans. There's no such thing as B2B or B2C, only B2P. People want to buy from people, and small businesses have to understand that the human relationship will never disappear with automation, but they have to transition their business model and their staff. Is that making sense, Robert?
Yeah, it's starting to. Yeah, that like if we, I mean, it's like you compare, how taxis lost all this ground to Uber, right? Like it's like if you keep trying to fight the change, then you're really going to miss out. You're going to be Blockbuster fighting Netflix. But if you kind of roll with it and you say, well, this is coming whether we like it or not, so we need to get in front of it and embrace it, then it'll help us out. And I've seen like little tiny bits of the AI being used in like internet marketing purposes, just here and there. Like a few years ago, I saw a software that would somehow split test a web page using artificial intelligence to the point where it would change like colors and add sidebars and rearrange navigation just over time without you having to do anything. So like the website design itself would evolve, and that was pretty cool. And then you see like Amazon is testing grocery stores in like Seattle over here where you don't even have to check out. You just grab your stuff and you just leave, and it does that kind of stuff. And I've seen that used in terms of like a video sales letter software that came out a few months ago where like, as you know, like the video sales letters where it'll like put a sentence at a time on the screen as someone's kind of narrating a PowerPoint, and somehow the software just syncs it up somehow. Like you say, here's my voice, here are my slides, and then it somehow like does like a transcription, but also like matches it up exactly. So I'm starting to get what you're saying about like the sort of the brainless, menial kind of worker bee sort of tasks are going to be taken over by the artificial intelligence. So it's up to the rest of us to maybe think a couple of levels higher and be more creative.
Yeah, spot on. Be creative, be explorers, be human relationship focused. And what you're really talking about is the commoditization of that kind of lower level technical skill. And that's what's going to impact agencies and sort of people-focused businesses the most, because there's this whole layer, right? This whole layer of skills and people that you think, are technical, and maybe they actually had to go get a degree at university, but can actually be turned, into AI or replaced by AI. They're going to be commoditized, and we already see it just with outsourcing. We commoditize engineering and a lot of design out to say Philippines or India and various places. That's the first step. The next is to then actually go the next step and turn it into AI,
Yeah, so I'm really curious about how this translates into real world terms. So do you have any interesting like stories or case studies that you and your company have been working on recently to kind of do some of this cutting edge stuff?
Yeah, so the technology isn't there yet. So we're starting with what we can, and we know what the future will be. And I think in 5 years' time, mine and my business, our role will be to choose which AI platform best suits your business, train the AI to achieve a result, and then train your team to talk to the AI. That will be the future of quote unquote the IT industry, or the services delivery part of it. At the moment, we're working with the cutting edge technology in workflow automation, sales, CRM, and your project delivery stuff, which is helping people collaborate and be more human and actually build an online connection between humans and clients and the team. But on the other side, automating things like report generation and automating a lot of timesheets and resource management to make that not just a more beautiful experience, but a lot more efficient. Getting a lot more juice, you should say, out of the team, improving and optimizing what they do. So that'll continue. The technical stuff will continue to be abstracted, more automation we put in, and it'll be to the point where a professional services company can say, I've got a new project, punch it in. The technology platform will go, great, you've done a few projects like this before, and we can see on our platform 1,000 other people have done similar projects. Here's all the resourcing you need, the capacity, the skills, the way you should structure the project, spit it all out. And now you just manage the relationship with the people, and the bots will do part of it and humans will do the rest.
Awesome. And like, so what I'm hearing from you is that it's sort of all about templates, right? I mean, it makes me think of like, when people first created, like websites or apps or databases or things like that, they pretty much always started from scratch, right? You'd hire like a web page designer to kind of do their magic and work in their head. But it seems like now that all these platforms have evolved, it's like we've seen enough of these different type of pages where like there's only a certain number of them, right? It's only a certain number of categories or templates. So it's now just a matter of, well, there's been like web pages have been done thousands and thousands of times before. So just like start with a template and then use a system. So that way you don't have to be the stereotypical artist where like you keep something in your head. Now it's like templatized, systematized is what I'm hearing from you.
You're spot on. You pretty much nailed it there, Robert. It's like an optimization path. We start by doing something totally manually, totally creative. We try a million different things and then find that really only 5 actually work, right? And we slowly refine the process, and everyone gets educated to the point now that, a kid can come out of school and do web design where it used to be a highly technical skill, and then you can just choose a template and it becomes easier and easier and easier, to the point where I can then eventually just tell an AI, I want to put a website up around this topic. Here's my brand and everything, and it can go and build it. And then the role of the web designer becomes around thinking about market trends, new markets, new ways of creating an experience and designing something new from that. And then somebody goes and turns that into a nice AI template and so on and so forth.
So yeah, so it's like our minds are going to be freed up so that instead of being stuck in the technical drudgery, we can kind of think on a whole new level, since we can just create all these things out of thin air. So like, how does that work as far as what you and your company does? Like, do you like go to businesses who just have like a mess of a system and the workflow and clean it up, or like what's your kind of magic sauce there?
Well, think of us as kind of like the bridge between human and technology, right? So that's exactly what we'll do. We'll go into a business that knows they need to transform, digitally, look at what the customer experience is that they want to create, and out of that will fall all of the systems and then the platform or various platforms that need to support or underpin that. And then we're project managers. We're kind of like architects and construction managers, if you like, of the IT world. You wouldn't get a house built yourself. You would go to an architect, they'd craft your vision and the concept, and then you'd go to a construction manager, they'd manage all the bricklayers. That's what we do.
And so with all the, it sounds like it's easy to get overwhelmed with all the, like the planning and saying I have to do this phase and that phase and go to here and there. So, I mean, is that true or is that false? Or like, do you think, is there an easy way to kind of get that bridge gapped without it getting super crazy complicated?
Well, that's basically our job, right? Is to make it effortless, to be the bridge that you simply walk across and enjoy the scenery. Because it is complicated, it is technical, and if you're looking at even just on the technology side, there's 20,000 CRM and project management platforms alone. If we just look at that sort of market, which one's right for you? How do I hook it up to everything else? Are my staff going to like it? Is it going to give me the reports I need? We take that pain away and really try to understand your business first, work out what we need to put in, and then make that whole journey beautiful and effortless.
Okay, so yeah, so it sounds like, you guys have basically seen it all, right? Like you've used all the CRM systems, you know which ones have their strengths and weaknesses, and if a company out there was looking to systematize better and scale better, they might just ask around or jump into whatever they see and then get stuck into something that's not a good fit. But then instead you say, well, we're going to really look at their business from as an outsider and say, based on what they need, we already know what system is best for them. Is that right?
Yeah, spot on. And we actually look at the genuine ROI. Although people find it really hard to classify, if you get the right tool in place and you can increase productivity by just 10%, it could be $1 million on your bottom line, depending on how the size of your business. So that's actually the approach we take when we go to select the platform. But as you say, most people think, oh, look, I hear on the grapevine, I probably need a CRM. I kind of know that it'll give me some value. I'll ask my mate, what does he think? Oh, he's using this. Great. Let's just go with that because that's the path of least resistance. You put something in, it actually has no relevancy to your business whatsoever, doesn't do what you want. It hasn't been crafted to suit your customer experience, and you end up at the end with something you might have paid a lot of money for without any kind of return. So we want to bridge that gap first and foremost, and then make it a successful and beautiful journey along the way.
So since we're talking about CRMs, I sort of have to admit that there are some areas where I'm not even sure I'm not even sure I know what I don't know, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know what I don't know, especially when it comes to CRMs. And that's one of those things where it's like me and my business partner and my team, like we've sometimes jumped into that to the extent where we've like put a few customers in there, put a few records in there as far as like things they purchased, or if we reached out, had a little bit of a call log there. But I feel like I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to be doing with it. I'm not even sure if I'm using it correctly. So if you can assume for a few minutes, you're like, if I know nothing about CRM at all, can you kind of explain like what are people missing about it? How or like what our attitude should be going into this?
Well, there's a million. Like if there's one market that is flooded, it's CRM. So there are a lot of tools out there, and it's very easy to get stuck. In my view, your CRM should really serve two purposes, and this is what you want to go in with. The first is managing your relationship. It is a customer relationship management platform, and it literally explains what it should do. And the type of business you are and the type of relationship you have with your clients will define what kind of CRM. So to break that down, if you're e-commerce, you're not often having direct phone calls. You're communicating over email. It's big, bulk email, mass offers, upsells, complicated email chains based on what you click. So you would look for a CRM platform that has a strong marketing automation component, like a HubSpot and Infusionsoft and Ontraport, ActiveCampaign. There's a whole bunch. Now, if you're more a professional services business and your job is to serve, and direct human relationship face-to-face is more important, you'd be looking for more of a sales and relationship-based CRM, and you'd look for those products like a ProsperWorks, for instance. There's quite a few, base CRM. There's plenty that are in relationship-focused kind of tools. And then, the size and your budget will determine whether you can get something super basic or insanely expensive. Right? Salesforce might cost you $100,000, but if that's the sort of thing you need, sensational. So that will help one dimension, the type of relationship you have with the client. The other is the data. And again, this is what people miss when they go to pick a CRM, because they just get whatever their mates wanted. Your CRM is about collecting data for a mass marketing email automation style system. It's about the number of clicks, the number of opens, the number of sales based on volume. There are a whole stack of metrics that as a business person you need to be tracking, that you need to look for in a CRM. On the flip side, if you're more relationship focused, the number of interactions, the last time you spoke, the dollar value, average dollar value and conversion rate of your contracts are far more important. Thus, you want a CRM that does that kind of thing. Is that making sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that depending on like how much you want to automate or how much you need to see those dashboards get refreshed every day, or how aggressive you need to be with follow-ups. Yeah, that's making a lot of sense. So when you work with these companies and like, they're stuck, or things are a mess, or things could be better. Do you see like a common thread with all of them? Like, is there like a number one area where they're all missing the boat? Anything like that come to mind?
Oh, look, it often comes down to reporting, actually, because a lot of people will put tools in because they think they have to, without knowing that the whole point of putting in a technology platform is to be able to get data out the other end to make smarter, faster decisions. So that's usually where we'll start, is what do you need to know to grow your business? That's usually the first question. And then, what kind of relationship, what kind of business, what kind of size, all those sort of things feed into it. But data-driven decision-making is the very first step of that journey we talked about before through to automation. And ultimately, sorry, you go, Robert.
I was just going to say, as you're describing this, it sounds like a lot of people are kind of defeating the purpose of what they're trying to do, right? They're using these tools to try to make things simple and for the system to serve them, but then they don't really know what that end goal is, which is to get those reports. So instead, they're making it way too complicated, and they themselves are serving the machine. Instead, they're getting the opposite of what they want.
They've already followed the path of the Terminator. They're serving the machines already, Robert. It's already begun. You got to get in early and make sure the machine serves you before it's too late.
Well, great.
And
so
never give them the keys to the nukes. Jesus.
Right, because next thing you know, I mean, they completely taken over. So so how does this work as far as people are listening to our crazy conversation today about AI and workflows and CRMs and systems and all that, and they say, all right, well, the Scott guy in his company, he sounds really smart, but how do I know if I'm a good fit to work with him, and what should I do? How should I reach out? Like, who's the ideal kind of person that you want to reach out to you today?
Well, look, we love working with professional services companies that are human focused, so marketing agencies and advertisers, engineering, consulting and IT, people that have teams, because we're the bridge between humans and technology, and we really have a passion for helping people to be augmented by technology rather than replaced. So that's who we love working with the most. Particularly if you're a small business moving into mid-tier, so you're growing rapidly, that's the point where technology provides the most value to you, because it's a multiplier. So if you're in that boat and you're in that transition stage, we're the right people to speak to, and you're the right people to speak to us. And we've got case studies and so forth on our website you can check out in time as well.
Awesome. And so that website that you're mentioning, that's scalemyempire.com, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It's undergoing a bit of work maintenance at the moment, but she's going to look sensational shortly.
Awesome. Once you get that human bridge gap and the workflow figured out, right?
Spot on.
Well, super cool. And so once people go to Scale My Empire, is there anything specific you want them to do? Do you want them to like go in and download a report, or is there like a contact link where you want them to reach out? Like if someone goes to scalemyempire.com right here, right now, what would you like them to do?
Yeah, check out our perfect tech stack download. It's available on the website. It'll give you a pre-bottled pre-bottled technology stack that you can implement in a mid-tier professional services business tomorrow, and get the customer experience you want and all of the reports that you could possibly need as an agency. And failing that, you can contact us either directly through the website or through my email, scott@scalemyempire.com.
Super great. And so it sounds like you guys are providing a much needed service here, as far as, like we've been alluding to, it's like you have your company, you have your business, and it's grown to a certain point. But then if it grows too big or it grows past a certain area, then it's like you're going to come across new problems that you're not yet equipped to deal with. And you better have your system streamlined. You better have your technology figured out. Otherwise, you're going to have some real big problems. So it sounds like you, Scott, and your team at Scale My Empire are providing the service that lots of people need. So they need to go right now to scalemyempire.com. And thanks for stopping by and for sharing some of this kind of mind-blowing stuff with us. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Robert. Really enjoyed it, mate.
Awesome. Me too. Need more guests for your podcast? How about a podcast that's set up in the first place? Schedule a call with us right now by visiting doneforyoupodcasting.com.